Howdy, y'all. Today, we're looking at Lithium Americas. Lithium Americas was a stock that we ended up looking at back at the early part of May, where we ended up seeing that they were on a really good bullish trend because they ended up securing some amazing contracts for the Department of Energy and also General Motors. But since then, it's been on a pretty solid bearish trend coming down over the past couple of months because they secured Thacker Pass, which is a huge lithium mine that they're planning on building that's going to be a good solid foundation for at least 80 years of what their projection for mining out Thacker Pass for lithium ion, which is good for batteries of any and all kinds, which goes back to General Motors for all of their EVs that they're trying to push for to still produce and bring to market. So, Lithium Americas at this point right now has finished Thacker Pass's construction in phase 1 of their engineering. So, they have roughly 60% of the engineering side completed. So, and the Thacker Pass site, it's in Nevada, and they've ended up making sure that they're going to end up completing all of phase 1 to actually have a full output towards the end of 2027 going into 2028. So this stock is going to end up being a long hold, but it is relatively cheap right now because it is a startup company for this mine. But they do have great backing behind them for the Department of Energy and General Motors and a lot of other things too for different type of lithium prices, because the lithium market is completely controlled by China right now in the current market as it stands. And Lithium America is bringing this lithium mining onto American soil so then we can control and have our own set of lithium to be able to deal with, mine, and take care of on our own without having to also worry about tariffs and extra taxes and things of that nature that come down the streamline of what this raw material can produce, which in turn can make batteries cheaper, electric cars cheaper, and also for the Department of Energy, they can also take these and bring them into a vast number of different things to where, since lithium powers quite literally everything from cars to cell phones and computers, anything with a battery in it, it's going to end up helping push for the market and also help bring down cost of batteries in general, because batteries have always been extremely expensive. So, but the only side of this that's kind of on the other end of things that doesn't really look good, where it's on the downside, is that they have a monthly spending cost of 50 to 70 million because they're working through the loan process for the Department of Energy. They're trying to get a larger loan for the Department of Energy, but they're not going to end up getting any money from them at all until they use up all the money from General Motors and also Orion. So both of those companies together gave Lithium Americas a huge sum of money, and it's only going to end up funding them for maybe a year. And then once that year's up, then the Department of Energy is supposed to be able to step in and give them a loan to be able to work through. But currently, the loan that they have from General Motors and Orion is both completely set in stone with their own interest rates and everything like that, to where, yes, they're going to owe on these, but they're going to be able to capitalize on those two loans a lot better than what the Department of Energy is going to end up throwing at them. So with their cost running that high, it's going to end up pushing some of this stock further down, I believe. So this stock can be a better buy in weeks to come once they end up securing this full Department of Energy loan, where it'll bring them back up a little bit higher into the news, because this is going to be something huge. Because if you look at a lot of the previous mining companies, even for coal and steel, normal iron ore, copper, and things of that nature, those companies have stock prices that go easily into the hundred to the couple of $100 a share. So this is definitely going to be one to look at and watch and wait to see where they're going to end up going, since they have this huge Thacker Pass project that's coming through within the next couple of years. So with this stock being, floating around 260, anywhere between really $2 and $3 a share is where it's been kind of floating at for the longest here over the past quite a few months. This stock probably is going to end up staying in this area and just kind of keep this volatility range up and down for the rest of this year. And then once they secure more contracts and they actually start producing more actual ore and lithium coming out of it towards the end of 2027, then that's when you're actually going to see the stock start boosting and start getting higher, because then they're actually going to start making profits and making heavy payments on these loans that they're able to bring in. So, and then on the next portion of this, you can look at, right now they're focusing on daily operations, getting ready for, like I was saying, the DOE's first loan advance. But that loan is more than likely not going to end up happening until towards the end of this year. So, but Bechtel and Sawtooth mining workers have been already seen on site getting ready for site prep for the project team to be able to bring high activity in the area, so then they can already start planning a little bit more on digging instead of just the engineering side of things. So that's all a great thing, but they're also looking to increase their workers from 300 workers currently to at least 1,000 men by the year's end. And men, I mean workers, period. Men or women, however it is. Although mining is a mainly male dominant industry. So then they're also starting to look into building in the railway, highways, power lines, and also they have to figure out a way to be able to get a heavy water management system, because Lithium Americas brings forth a lot of waste and a lot of environmental hazards that come with mining lithium. And that's another reason why Lithium Americas is pushing so hard, and why they're going to be such a great company once they can actually get off the ground and start pulling product out of the ground. Because with America's environmental side, they'll be able to make lithium a lot cleaner by the way that they pull it, and the least amount of hazards that they're going to end up putting into the ground to be able to control the leachate from this type of mining process. So they're also looking kind of at a different paradox, where lithium is trading at an all-time low right now, but it has never been in such a high demand for lithium as well, for the product itself. So the price peak is sitting at about $40,000 per ton, but they're probably looking more, by the time they actually start production, lithium should probably ease out to about 20,000 per ton, which is about on average of where the lithium market has been staying over the course of the past couple of years, not counting taxes and tariffs from it coming from other countries, of course. So they'll start focusing on phase one here in the short term, and phase two is just going to end up depending on timing for market conditions. They're doing phase one and starting phase one, and they'll start mining, but they're not going to actually start up phase two until they can start getting into more low cost and low risk steps, to where they can ensure that phase two is not going to end up costing them more than what it's worth. So that's going to be something that they're looking at, which is great, meaning that they're going to walk before they run. So then this company is going to be one that's going to be pushed to succeed and not one that's going to jump too fast to where they end up biting off more that they can chew and end up getting into such a high debt and such a high interest margin where the stock is going to end up suffering for us investors. The company would probably do fine by itself being a mining corporation, but what we are here for is we are here to make money, and we are here to be investors, to be smart investors, and to make the best out of any situation. So y'all know a lot of the stocks that I look at are long holds. Nothing is really a get rich quick scheme. Anybody that tries to say you want a get rich quick scheme, you might want to be careful with that because, well, it's typically pump and dumps, and if you don't time it just right, you lose more than you can gain. And that's just no different than catching the falling knife. So, with this stock still pushing forward and doing everything that they're doing, it's actually really good to see how they're excuse me, how they are enabled to procure all of these funds and also what they're doing with building their whole site. They're keeping up with demand on building aspect, and they're also keeping up with demand in the aspect of how they're able to build their infrastructure for this site in Nevada. Now, with all that being said, this stock, once again, is more than likely just going to continue trending where it is. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to be able to buy anything in between $2 and $3 a share to be able to kind of get in on some of the hype. This stock is not set to do any kind of splits anytime soon. Their margins are actually really good for their stock price and also for the position that they're in at the current state of them not really being able to bring in any profits yet. So it's actually a really fair stock price, and everything that they're going through between the news, between the outside sources of lithium coming in from other countries, along with a lot of other factors with all the different tariffs that's been happening and stuff like that, it's really came in well to be able to show how this stock is going to be able to go forward and become a more positive outlook on things once they can actually hit the ground running and making money from the ore that they're actually pulling out of the ground. So, I hope y'all liked the video. Hope y'all were able to learn a little bit more about Lithium Americas. If you have any other questions about this stock, then I kind of went over a really good generalization of their mission statement and what they're trying to push and where they're trying to go with this company from the first video that I did. I'll drop it up on the video below here at the end for a link. So, hope y'all enjoyed it. And if y'all end up liking it, if y'all like this video and y'all are liking the new form that I'm making, leave me a comment down below and tell me if you like this style video or if you like some of my older styles. So I'm still working on a little bit of this new equipment and everything else, so I'd love to hear some feedback from you guys. And then if there's a stock that you like or that you've been purchasing some of, or if you continue to keep purchasing a specific stock month in and month out, drop it in the comments below. I'd love to be able to jump in and check out another stock and be able to bring it to the rest of the community that we have coming on here in YouTube. So, for now, this is the Stock Warden riding off. So y'all come back now, you hear?